This is the Global Voice Radio Network.
Blasting the voice of freedom worldwide, you're listening to the Global Voice Radio Network.
And once again, we have Drake and Company tonight. In just a moment, I'm going to turn it over to Drake. What I would like to do is I would like to ask everybody, our forum is pretty much wide open. If you speak up or if you have noise in the background and you happen to not be muted, everybody on the planet's going to hear it. And yes, I do hear tell that we do have worldwide listeners tonight because people have been looking for Drake's first scheduled call at his new home for about a week now. So with that, I am Paul on the Global Voice, and I am going to turn it over to Drake. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine. Now, something I want to express, two things actually. First of all, everybody out there that's listening needs to grab a piece of paper and something to write with, because you want to probably take notes on this. I've been going round and round trying to get things to get to the point where we the people could actually do something towards settling out all the BS and the wait time and all that. And basically, the last couple of days, that's primarily what I've been doing. Now, people have expressed that they don't want people to get in their stuff by knowing who they are and all that sort of thing. Well, I got news for you. In case you don't know, you probably made no list because you probably ain't the kind of people that are really interested in all that much. But if you don't know much about the internet and connections and all that, everything we got, they know about. They listen to the show. I mean, I don't know if they're fans or not. Probably will be after tonight. You got about 20, 25 seconds before you get into the meat of this. So I would suggest that don't worry too much about privacy. And somebody can state that in the chat room, I'd appreciate it. Your privacy, if you're in the chat room, you don't got it. Now, even if you're going through a secondary service, you still ain't got that much. So it don't really matter. We've got a choice. And what we need to do is face realities. The process of that I'm going to lay out tonight. And hopefully people will pick this up and run with it. Now, what I'm going to request and ask and beg of everybody is to take the information you got, take it down. If you feel like you missed something, go back to the recording. This will be recorded. You can get the recorded copy of what I'm going to lay out. I'm going to go through some of this twice. There's a reason for that. This is not easy for me to come out with, and I also have a load of guarded information that other people don't have that I'm not allowed to share. Now, that's a request from the people that are involved in all this, to include military, etc. I will not out somebody simply for their protection. And that can be, the military going after one of their own because they're sharing state secrets or whatever might be going on that somebody might take exception to, and they can zap you with some fun and games and all that. Anyway, first, here it is. The reality needs to be faced. And this is what the reality is. We have a choice. If we, the people, go after the shadow government, as we know it to be, those who are behind the scenes, so to speak, to an extent, some we know as being out front, the people that have been playing games with us for so long have promised to fight to the very bitter end. Now, what that means is basically all-out war. If anybody does not know or has no clue as to what war entails in terms of destruction and fun and games, take a look at Palestine. Take a look at some of the holes in rockets making Jerusalem. Go look at Syria. These things are all over the internet. They give you an idea, okay? Coming to a neighborhood near you, right down the block, think about it. Think about a battle tank going through the neighborhood and just taking out everything that stands. If that's not what you're after, now I'm gonna qualify that. If you don't have a tank, you probably ain't gonna stand much of a chance. The newer battle tanks are pretty much impervious to an assault by a soldier, no matter how good they are. Unless you got an anti-tank missile, you're screwed, pretty much. So, we're looking at the reality of this. Here's a number for you, and I want you to drum this in your head, write it down, brand it on the mirrors at home so that everybody remembers this. Within the population, overall, you're looking at 2/3 dead or wounded. Now, that's going to be both sides. There would be two sides to every story if the other side was willing to take up arms. So, knowing that nobody ever wins a fight and nobody ever really wins a war, it's the one who takes the least casualties that is considered the winner. People die on both sides. And the idea of getting shot, I don't particularly care for. I've been on the combat field, and I guarantee you, most people won't like the idea of being shot at. It ain't no fun, believe me. Now, that said, number 2, there are 3 principles involved in what I'm about to explain. This includes we the people, that's collectively all of us, the collateral accounts, as everybody has been hearing about, and the bankers or financiers. Those are the 3 principles involved in all this. And as I have said and stated several times, there's changes coming. Okay, these changes is what I'm offering tonight. And it's going to be primarily up to an involvement on the part of the people as to what we end up with. That will be explained when I start making these other points. What everybody wants, from what I can tell, is changes from what we have now to what we should have always had. Little things like freedom, not being screwed financially or otherwise, having some place to work, and getting enough out of it so you can actually, support the family, have a cold beer, maybe, take the kids to the park or something, or have some fun with them, or go to the movies or something. Simple stuff, nothing complicated, nothing extravagant. Oh, I know, there's some people that would take their whatever they got and go buy a big old CAD and try to style around like they're somebody more than what they are, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the average person. The people who are not considered necessarily conservative, but who are not extravagant either. This is sort of middle-of-the-road, average people, just like me. I just happen to be a voice. Don't forget that. Now, the fun of it. The reality of all this has been expressed to me. And it's been expressed very, very concisely, very accurately, and to the point. As I've stated before, the banks, bankers, financiers are looking to surrender. Now, so far, there isn't anything in writing concerning that to anybody. However, the points I'm going to offer deal with a question, and this is something you got to ask yourself. If the bankers, they were to surrender, give up, wave the white flag, we quit, what would we, the people, accept in exchange for that surrender? These things took me some time to list in terms of making sure that I covered as much as possible without being too detailed. People have heard of a plan called NESARA, National Economic Security and Reformation Act. Okay? This is the real one. This is the one that's buried and been hidden and folded up and put away so well that it's got a gag order on it from the Supreme Court. You cannot get the information unless, of course, you might be a flag officer in the Pentagon or a high-ranking political official that happened to just sort of, I think I'll put that one in my safe and hold on to it kind of thing. Basically, what NESARA does is it equals financial freedom. This is your debt forgiveness. This is the basis for an open economic system. Now, by that I mean nothing hidden. Banks, everything are open. You can understand what's going on. No complexities or ring around the rosy of any kind. Now, this is what I would say the people would be looking for in one part. Another one is the National Economic and Security and Reformation Act states in it that it is looking at a specific tax. I have discussed this with people who are in the legal field, and I'm talking about a combination of common, admiralty, international, and other types of law. And the discussion came around to that tax, and the word tax might as well be a four-letter word. Everybody has enough of that swinging on their hemorrhoids that they don't want any more of it, and I agree with that. Now, so what we discussed was, how would you get rid of that? Well, that word tax ain't going to be acceptable to anybody. First Amendment to the National Economic Security and Reformation Act would be no tax. What this would involve would be user fees. In other words, everybody's been on a toll road. You pay $1 or $2, and you get to travel a certain distance. Okay? What I'm offering is that this would be designed on the number of travelers and the actual cost of the maintenance of the road. Nothing more than that. You'll find that in some cases, some of the tolls will go down. In some cases, they'll increase slightly. But what you're talking about is not having a 21% tax. I thought that was a bit extravagant. The only thing about that is that the number 21 stuck in my head, and I couldn't remember why. So I started thinking, where does 21? Oh, yeah, I remember. I got a itemized bill once because I requested it. I said, I need to know what's going on. And they put it all in there real concisely. There's $21 and some cents federal tax on the phone I'm talking to you on. Well, what for? I mean, I can understand paying for 911. That's cool. If I need to use it, I got it at least. The phones basically work, so you got to maintain the wires. Simple stuff like that. And switching equipment breaks down and needs to be upgraded, and simple stuff. But where does the $21 comes in? Woo. Well, basically, the federal tax amounted to about $18. Now, I want you to think about your phone bill going down. $18. Because it's a tax that goes into somebody's pocket. It does not pay for squat. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about another thing that NESARA offers. Federal income tax. Bye-bye. Now, how much of a load would that help? If they don't buy you an extra cold beer and some burgers for the kids, you need to change jobs to get something that pays decent. Okay, so, NESARA, as one of the things that people would accept, at least, okay? It is equal to financial freedom, pretty much. Now, everybody has been asking about this and that, and what do you do with the rest of it? Well, one of the things I mentioned was you got to have a decent wage and a place to work. I offer that the release of all advanced technology will create jobs. The reason I say that is the collateral accounts you've been hearing about will be used to set up the manufacture and installation of these advanced technologies. This means $15-20 an hour for people who want that much money. Now, I'm going to warn you about something. Very simple. If the people at 7-Eleven can't get $10 an hour, and most of them don't, you're talking about your Cokes, your candy bars, your cigarettes, and all that stuff going up a little bit. Now, cigarettes has got a lot of tax on them. There's some iffy things about that. Some of it goes to pay for people that smoke because they supposedly have extraordinarily greater health problems than somebody who doesn't. And I can agree with that. I'm a smoker. I'm in the process of quitting, actually. Now, I'm going to add some things to this, and that's called changes and additions. and I'm going to offer the first thing that's most important that